The way we conceptualize gender, whether that's through stereotypical gender norms or values or behaviors or any number of things, is incredibly culture specific. And in fact, a culture's writing system can play a part in how we view gender. Of course, historically, men have been more in control about how we talk about and view writing systems. So today, we're going to focus primarily on female-influenced writing systems. Now, of course, I'm a man, and I know I'm not the greatest authority on this subject, and I know that I've got a lot to learn. But these stories are incredible and important and really need to be told. We'll see how a writing system can be tied to a particular gender or even shatter the gender norms of a culture. While language is a universal human attribute and that can be learned implicitly, writing, of course, has to be taught. In some cultures, writing education is a right that is divided by gender, with men having the right and women not having it. And when cultures divide writing scripts by gender, it sometimes results in several distinct gendered scripts. There are a few examples of women's scripts emerging. For example, scripts like Hanji from China and Kanji from Japan were incredibly complex. So women, who were on the whole uneducated in both of these cultures, had a pretty high barrier of entry. In Japan, the women who had access to education sometimes learned kanji, but traditionally in this stylized cursive called shoto. But for the majority of Japanese women who this wasn't possible for, they created hiragana, which is a more manageable script, at least to a beginning learner. And even today, though hiragana is much more widely used, because of its history, it still has feminine connotations. And a similar thing actually happened in China. Because the Hanji characters were so incredibly complex, and because women were often barred from writing, the Nushu script emerged. Nushu literally means women's script. And so in the women's chambers, away from everybody else, women gathered to learn this script. It often had to be kept a secret. In fact, Nushu was often written onto foldable fans or written into embroidery patterns to keep it concealed. And it became entrenched in femininity. It was passed down from mother to daughter, and it often functioned as a way for women to talk about their lives and their oppression. But more importantly, it created an outlet for expression. A more modern example of this kind of empowerment and expression is Adlam. It was originally created in the late 20th century as a script for the Fulani language of West Africa. Fulani was historically written in the Arabic script, but Arabic only gave sort of a rough approximation of how the Fulani language was actually supposed to sound. This meant that learning the language by means of the script Arabic was really difficult. And as we saw in our previous cultures, in the Fula culture, only men were allowed to learn the Arabic script. But the creation of Adlam in 1989 and its popularization and education has allowed Fula speakers, both men and women, to accurately represent their language. And because women were so often uneducated, the new script has become a source of empowerment and a source of connection to their language. The writing systems I have mentioned so far have all sort of involved the exclusion of women, and I want to highlight a more positive script. That's Tifinagh, which is the script of the Tuareg Berber people of North Africa. This script was actually taught by women to their children, and it was incorporated into lots of materials associated with women, like jewelry or fabric designs or even tattoos. And in fact, the only reason that we still have the Tifinagh script is because of the Tuareg women. When the Tuareg population was ousted from their homes, the script survived through these more tangible, survivable materials that the women were creating. And this script, which has been around for thousands of years, is still around today and is being taught in schools and used on signs around the area. There is so much more to learn about all the scripts that I've talked about today, and so if you do want to learn more, there's a ton of information out there. There are lots of links in the description that give more information on all the scripts I've mentioned here today, and more that I haven't mentioned. And while you're down there, please consider donating to the Endangered Alphabets Patreon. Donating will help keep Endangered Alphabets up and running, and you'll get some really nice bonus content out of it as well. Thanks so much for watching.